Living with sensory processing disorder can be so hard for kids and families because it can be so hard to do things that most families take for granted. Things like getting a haircut, going to an amusement park, or going to your neighborhood park and playing with other kids, going to a doctor's visit, going to a concert or a play or anything like that. Things that the whole family wants to do, all of those outings that you as parents love seeing your children laugh and play and do. All of that leads to overwhelm with sensory processing disorder. So if this is something that you and your child and your family struggles with, we want to talk to you today in this video about that. It can be so discouraging for you as a parent because you're trying your best, you're doing everything you can to calm the external environment and to help your child through these big sensory storms, and yet again they still have those sensory meltdowns because they need way too much input for you to be able to match it, or they're way too sensitive when it comes to the sensory overload and you're not sure how to find that happy medium. And those sensory struggles that you see in your child don't just stay there. They get stuck and they turn into other things like anxiety, sleep disorders, ADHD, and autism spectrum disorder. And all of these things get put in that bucket of sensory processing disorder. So today we want to talk about not only how it impacts your child, but how to get to the bottom of it, how to get to the root of what is happening with sensory processing disorder. And we're going to do that by looking at it through a different lens than maybe what any other healthcare provider and any other parent has told you or mentioned or discussed with you, because it's really looking at the root cause that's going to help your kid, help your family get the help, care, and the answers that you need and have been looking for. We're going to talk about a really cool test that we do in our office at Sprout Family Chiropractic that really looks at the internal environment and what's going on at a neurological level that's creating this sensory storm for your child. And we're going to look at a set of scans, or those tests that we talked about, for a kiddo who was struggling really from the beginning, from his mom seeing motor developmental milestones being early, and that's usually celebrated, but some of the things that mom was wondering or thinking, there's something not quite right with what's going on at a really early age. We're going to look at that. And even at 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, Logan, this little kiddo, he was struggling even just to go to a party, to be with friends, to have that childhood experience that every child deserves. And the sad thing is, his parents was just left with the answer of he'll grow out of it from his pediatrician, and also avoid the things that trigger his sensory overwhelm. Now, when we look at this kiddo's case history, mom noticed a lot of things, these certain things that showed up early on in life, and she thought, maybe it's connected, but I'm not quite sure, and I haven't been told that these things are connected, so she didn't know what to make of it. Things like a very difficult birth, a very, very manually assisted emergency C-section. He always struggled with immune challenges. He walked very early on, very, very early on, but he continued to be a toe walker. He had a lot of stress in the neuromotor system that his mom was wondering, could this be related? But again, was being told, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. But we know as neurologically focused chiropractors, of course it's related. The neuromotor system is heavily rooted in that back of the brain, that small brain called the cerebellum, that area. And it controls motor development as well as sensory development. Now, sensory development is all about what gets in from the body, goes to the nervous system and to the brain, and then creates an output that is what the symptoms and the behaviors and the emotions that parents and families see in their child. So it's no coincidence that this kiddo was struggling with immune challenges and motor development struggles, and all of that adding up to sensory struggles, because all of it's related, and he was struggling from 2 to 3 to 4 years old, and it didn't look like they were going to get out of that sensory storm. And a key note to sensory processing disorder is parents are often thinking and being told that as long as you get the external environment to match what the child needs, everything is going to be easier, everything is going to be okay. So by that, rationale or logic, you try to make the outside external environment for your child calm and relaxing. But the thing is, a lot of times that doesn't make things easier. It doesn't help things. It doesn't get them out of those sensory overwhelm, sensory storm struggles. And you're left as a parent wondering, what am I doing wrong? What can I do more for my child? And the biggest thing is that it's not just the external environment, it's the internal environment as well that's telling the brain what to do, how to act, how to behave, what emotions to display, what behaviors to have. And so it's not just the external, it's also the internal environment in combination that's having your child react to certain things. And that's really what we do when we look through a neurologically focused, neurologically based chiropractic lens. We look at what the body is telling the brain and the nervous system, because understanding the internal environment is going to help the processing, coordination, and then also the output of what you as parents and you as families are seeing from your kiddo. So one key test that we do is called heart rate variability, or HRV. HRV allows us to see, where the internal environment, where the neurological systems lie within your child, how balanced between the two sides that we're going to look at in a second, the sympathetic side or the parasympathetic side. And that balance or that regulation and that interplay between the two is very critical and very crucial for your child to be able to recognize, hey, my outside environment is calm, relaxed, and okay, and I'm safe. And also my internal environment is calm, relaxed, and I'm safe and okay. So when we look at these heart rate variability or HRV scans, we're really looking at those two sides of the nervous system, the gas and the brake, or the sympathetic side and the parasympathetic side. And this is the progression over 3 months of this kiddo's scan, the first scan being in the very first scan he had, his baseline, and then his second scan after a month, and then his third scan after another month of neurologically focused chiropractic care. And what we're really seeing is that interplay, or that counterbalance, or the lack thereof, of the gas and the brake pedal in his neurological or nervous system. Let me just say, it's okay for a kid to be pressing on the gas pedal, sitting in that sympathetic side of his nervous system or her nervous system when they're playing sports, when they're taking a test, when they got to get things done. That's okay. It's okay when we sit there. It's there, and we're designed with it for a reason. But it's not okay if we get stuck there. It's not okay if we're pressing on the gas pedal when we're trying to go to sleep, when we're in a social situation, we're trying to make friends, and it's not okay when we're sitting there trying to get a haircut. If that's the case and your child is sitting on this gas pedal, that's when the brain, the nervous system, the whole body gets overwhelmed. And this other metric right here, the autonomic activity, is showing us how hard the brain and the body are working against each other or with each other to create a state of ease, a state of calm, a state of relaxation in your child's nervous system. So not only was he sitting on this gas pedal sympathetic side right here, but he was also working through a lot of the stress and distress. So his body was worn out, the energy level was worn down because the body and the brain were working against each other. And what's interesting is on his second scan, his body didn't move up on that autonomic activity too much, but he did move more to center, more to balanced, more to a regulated state so that the brake pedal could counterbalance that gas pedal. He was letting off the gas pedal as he was pressing the brake pedal a little bit more. And that meant his parents were seeing, I could let off the gas, I could be a little more calm, I don't have to, be revved up in social situations, I don't have to have these sensory overwhelmed, outputs as much, because I'm able to counterbalance and hit the brake pedal, sit more and more towards that center balanced regulated line. In his third scan, he jumped way up to what we want everyone to be at, is in this green box. He was able to balance those social situations, the social gatherings. He was able to get haircuts without having big sensory outbursts, and he was able just to be calm, focused, relaxed. He was able to sleep better. He was able to, be around big loud noises and go to parks, go to concerts and all of that, and be in those situations that we talked about way at the beginning of this video that all families want to be able to do. He was able to do that more and more and at a better and more state of ease. If this is something that your child's struggling with, you've probably tried a lot of different things. There are a lot of pathways that you are led down. You can go to, an OT, PT, ABA, change their external environment, go to a park and have them run it out for, 3 hours and have them play until they can't play anymore. All those things help, but it doesn't get or address the root cause of what's going on, and that's that imbalance in the nervous system between that gas pedal and that brake pedal. And if that isn't addressed, then those sensory challenges, those sensory overwhelms are just going to keep popping up because the brain is on overdrive. And the brain on overdrive is really hard for a child to override when they don't get that support that they need. But when this neurological imbalance is addressed, all of these things, all of these amazing things that you're doing already, the PTOT, everything gets way better results. Your child thrives. Your child not only gets out of the sensory storm, but they start sleeping better. They start being more at ease. They start relaxing. They start being able to make more friends, having social engagements and being in social gatherings and having more fun and doing what kids should be doing. And it's just being a kid and not worrying about what's going on around me and what's going on within me. Not worrying about that at all. So parents, we want you to know you're not alone. And if this is something that your child, your family is struggling with, we want to dig into this. We want you to dig into this at a deeper level, so we don't just try to change the external environment, but we get to the root cause and we address it, and we create a balanced, more regulated state for your child, for their well-being, their happiness and emotional happiness, and for your well-being and emotional happiness as well, parents. It can be so powerful to help kids through that sensory storm, not just for them as a child, but also for the whole family, for you, for your partner, for everyone else in the family. It can be so powerful. So please reach out, please send us a message, give us a call, ask for help, share this video with another mom or dad who is struggling with this with their child. We really appreciate you sticking through this one, and we'll see you on the next one.